All right, well, we're going to let our illustrious leader start off the show.
That would be me.
Yes.
I'd like to welcome you all to another show of 6 Blocks Apart, where we sit down with a random group of people that we all know, and discuss the day's events, things that we want to get out there, things that have happened to us, things that we'd like to happen to us, and stuff like that there.
And we have a guest.
And we have a guest, the very first guest. How about a round of applause for our first guest?
Hi, Sharon.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for being with us. I know you're going to work tonight, right?
I do. I work overnight. So
What do you do?
Oh, wow. I work for the county medical examiner in St. Louis. I'm an investigator, a death investigator. So.
Wow. How interesting.
It is interesting. It's been eerily quiet.
Oh.
So, yeah.
It's good.
All right, well,
hopefully.
fingers crossed.
Right.
I'd rather
Right.
you be bored.
Yeah.
So,
So
I do a lot of reading.
do you live near St. Louis?
I actually live in the city and I work for the county. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually have a view of the arch from my bedroom window. So.
Oh, wow.
I visited St. Louis, I think it was my senior year of high school on a chorus trip. And we got to sing in a beautiful old cathedral downtown that still had the pipe organ.
Yeah.
And then we went up in the arch, and that was my big thrill as a senior.
So
Yeah, that's.
I know I've been to St. Louis. I just don't know when. I've been there, I know.
you can
but
go
I
in
don't-
the
Back in the 80s it was, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
So we,
So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your city.
So our governor just did a stay-at-home order. They were doing a county by county
I
and
know.
city by city thing. It went from the 25 to the 10 to the 5 to, stay at home, but you can go to the parks. Now, I know St. Louis County closed all their parks, their public parks, because people weren't, adhering to the,
Right.
there was just a bunch of businesses on that were not considered essential. And they're like, look, if you don't, you're not going to be in good standing with the county. So you need to close down.
Wow.
Quite a few, craft stores and hair salons, and which I'm in dire need of a haircut. And I told my mom the other day, I said, I'm about ready to, she says, don't you dare. I said, we'll grow back. She says, don't you do it.
Essential services means different things to different people,
It absolutely
That's
does.
good,
It
Sam.
absolutely
That's-
does. Yeah. One of the things I miss, the building that I'm in, there's a restaurant in between our two apartment complexes. It's called 1111, and they have a grill outside that they put their steaks on. But every night I'd come home from work and I could smell that, and I miss that smell.
Oh,
It's the oddest thing to miss, but I miss the smell of that steak cooking.
Wow.
so do you have restaurants though that are open for delivery?
We do. We have a lot of, so the neighborhood I live in is the Lafayette Square community. And we've got a lot of small, privately owned, businesses. And we just did a thing on our community website on Facebook. Hey, tell us who's open. Everybody who knows that somebody's open and delivering our curbside pickup. That way we know what businesses are still open within our community.
Right.
So.
And do you have Grubhub and Postmates and all of those kind of,
Yeah.
So about how many people are affected here approximately?
Oh, goodness. The city, we've actually had quite a few of our police officers in the city.
Right.
Our traffic division, I think I read 15 of the 20 tested positive.
Wow.
Yeah,
A friend of mine I worked with who's actually in critical condition right now.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he actually he was supposed to get tested, and they were going to have his test on Tuesday. In the meantime, his fever kept getting worse. He finally broke a fever. They didn't test him because he didn't have a fever.
oh.
So they said, oh, well, you don't have it because you don't have a fever. Well, in the meantime, he kept getting worse. actually ended up having a heart attack. When they opened his chest during surgery, that's when they found the COVID, and he's now in critical condition.
Oh, I'm so
I
sorry.
just don't get the testing thing.
It's a
Gerard,
relatively-
Tony's cousin Gerard, has family members. They were on a cruise, a retirement cruise. It was a 5-week cruise, and they ended up stopping within 3 weeks and deboarding in Europe and they got back into New York when that mad rush was at the airport.
Right.
And her husband came down with the identical symptoms, but they won't test him.
Why?
And now she's sick, and their son, who's been delivering them food and everything, is sick.
He's sick.
But none of them have tests, but they all have exactly what.
Yeah, nobody, it's like, how do you know how many people have it if you don't test?
I know.
Well, that's it.
I don't know.
And you don't, and it's up to it's the responsibility. So from my standpoint, from my job, there are certain things that are reportable to us and certain things that aren't. And when a hospital calls and says, well, the person's been in the hospital since May 25th. Okay, well, it's not reportable to us, but you still need to call the CDC.
Sure.
So it's on the shoulders of the hospital staff while they're doing everything else.
I know, they're overwhelmed.
Contact the CDC.
Unbelievable. That is.
Yeah, and they truly are the heroes. It's like someone was saying today how we always stop and applaud a military man, and duly so,
Sure.
Now it's like whenever you see a nurse or a doctor,
Yes.
they're just, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I've got family members and friends that are firefighters and paramedics.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the medical field, and
Right. They have to be just as involved too, because they're like the first responder to.
Yeah. But we had quite a few people affected in the county. I think I just read we have over 1,000 in St. Louis County
Wow.
that have tested positive, but very few deaths, which is
Good.
a good thing. I think we hit in one county 7, in St. Louis County I think we're at 5.
So on a lighter note, Sharon, how did you start watching the show? I want to hear that.
I saw Melissa go live with the first one, and sat and watched that, and just something to do and something to hear.
Oh, cool.
You guys talk about what you're experiencing too.
He's one of our Rick family.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I'm one of the Rick family, but also have been a fan of General Hospital since I was. So I started watching General Hospital in 1981. So yeah. But
Oh yeah, was Rick on? That was when he started being on.
That's when I started.
I actually started watching it for my sister, who was away at Girl Scout camp. So,
Oh, wow.
and I would write her letters and tell her what was going on each week and send her letters. So,
1981 was the year.
Yeah.
yeah, it was the year. Yeah. So, but that's what I did. I started watching it and I got hooked, and she kind of got away from it. So.
Well, it was an easy year to get hooked on because all the good stuff happened then.
Mm-hmm.
It really did. It really did.
It was
Yeah.
exciting back then,
And
yeah.
TV was starting to get a little more contemporary, in 81, and you guys were on the leading forefront of doing things out of the box and
Totally.
even with camera editing and views and like more live outdoor footage and stuff. I
They
remember.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gloria Mondi, the executive producer, knew how to tell a story unlike anybody else that Daytime had ever seen before. And there were lots and lots and lots of things that were available to be done back then because Daytime was relatively undiscovered. It had been unexplored. It hadn't been exploited at all. So there was lots of stuff.
But yet it had been in the works for how many, like 20-something years by then?
Well, it started in '63, so do the math.
Yeah. But I remember in a conversation with you, Tristan, you telling me how Gloria Monty let you actually come up with, she would listen to you and let you ad lib and
Well, I had a big advantage. I wasn't American.
Yeah.
And that automatically allowed me to get away with a lot of stuff that a lot of other people couldn't get away with because they didn't have the excuse that I had.
What was your excuse?
I'm not from here.
I'm Australian. I'm Australian.
Well, I remember the first script that they gave.
The dingo ate your baby.
And I looked at this script and I said, look, this guy wouldn't talk like this in this situation. He wouldn't do it, not being the person that he is. And everybody looked at one another and Gloria said, then change it.
Ooh.
So I changed it. And that started a trend which continued to this day.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
They never quite figured out how to write for me, ever. And that kind of made the character, that was one of the elements of the character that made him different. He just didn't conduct himself in the way that the average American conducted himself. And Gloria said, look, I've got 150 million people I can call on to do a good American accent. I don't need you doing one, so be yourself.
Oh, nice.
So and that was an amazing piece of license right there.
But what also seemed to really work with you being yourself was the fact that your character was always like so cool that you never got overly excited or overly crazy or whatever. You were just cool, and so you could be pissed off and you'd still be cool, or you could be emotional, you'd still
You
be
feel like that.
I know. That's what I
Not
think that's
quite
what I'm
the
trying to say.
There was
I
a
know the
character.
is not saying a whole lot.
There was a character they wrote in during that period, the character of O'Reilly, which was played by Billy Hayes. And here's this little old lady who carried this, this 44 Magnum. And she came onto the show, and it was only meant to be like a 2-day role. And she was there for about 5 weeks
Wow.
because the relationship that the two of us had was so different, yet again, from anything that General Hospital was doing. General Hospital continued to pull these rabbits out of the hat.
Or as they say, O'Reilly, a sight for sore eyes.
It's been a long 2 years, Sonny.
I don't suppose that you've overextended yourself very much since I last saw you.
I've had a few turns around the track here and there.
Any snippets of intrigue that you'd care to share with me?
To an honest fellow like you, guess I could mention a few things.
I listen in breathless fascination. What is this? Get away. This is a cheap trick or something. Get away.
Just habit, Sonny. Sorry. You never know who's packing a tape recorder nowadays.
That was one of the things that made the audience want to tune in. When they tuned out, when the day's episode was over, it wasn't over to them. People would get on the phone and they talk about it and discuss it. Oh, did you see this? What do you think of that? And why did he say this? And what do you think she said when she meant that? And blah, blah, blah. They were the great things that kept the show going when the show wasn't on the air. Stuff that now happens over the web.
Mm-hmm.
And did you used to watch HR Puffin stuff? Anybody?
Yes, I have the doll.
Oh my
Well, that's Billy Hayes. She
Yeah.
played Witchy Poo.
Yeah.
What?
It was.
Who?
Okay.
Witchy Poo.
Yeah, but who did it?
She was on the General Hospital with him.
Oh, she played O'Reilly,
Yeah.
which is kind of your mother, right?
It was inferred,
Loosely, yeah.
but also they also inferred that I had parents. So we never went too far with it. But what they did was that they used her as the catalyst to send the 3 intrepid heroes off after the Cassadines. They killed her off. And it was a really emotional scene. I guess I took about 3 steps further than was written. But it was a very emotional scene. And everybody kind of, was standing around crying about it. And then everyone said, okay, let's get these bastards. Bang. And that's how it started.
Oh, wow.
She never came back, right? Because, they always bring.
No, and there was talk of it, but and I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't because it would have messed up a lot of history if they suddenly brought her back. It was almost the equivalent of when I came back in 2006 and when my daughter catches me making a phone call in the hospital. What kind of an idiot am I if I don't want to be caught? Am I going to make a turn up in the hospital. What an idiot.
Where she's a doctor at.
Yeah, I mean, come on. How stupid can you get?
Oh, excuse me. I'm just gonna.
Hi, sweetheart.
Watching all three shows, you know,
Listen, you need another
all
drink.
three shows from all my children all in General Hospital. Well, you know, because it was all my children, One Life to Live in General Hospital, and just it went bang, bang, bang.
Right.
Used to watch all of them.
Vicky and Nikki.
Yeah.
Hey, you just did Tristan's favorite thing, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Right?
And he does that all the time.
Yeah.
He said, I watched the 3 shows, bang, bang, bang. That's Tristan's thing, bang, bang, bang.
So Tristan, did you have a storyline with Judith? Another one of our friends, Judith Chapman. She played Jenny Blake on.
Yeah, I remember arresting her.
Okay.
And
Wait.
I don't remember
Remember real life.
much more than that.
Okay.
There was this one scene that I had with her, and this is back in the days of prompters. And there was this one scene that I had with her, and I'm kind of looking at her this way,
Mm-hmm.
but the prompter guy was on my left.
Uh-oh.
So you made
And at some point in the scene, I kind of got lost. And so I just went, hang on. Okay, right. And they left it in.
They did? That's
I left it in.
Wow.
in that
Yeah,
scene. You know I
You
am.
should have been like,
Hilarious.
"Hey, is that a spider on the wall?"
Were you like in an office situation or something where someone could have been like, wanting your attention? Because that would, I guess, work.
Yes.
There was a lot of little things like that that happened
Yeah.
that for whatever reason, they decided to or had to leave in. Had to leave in would have been the what I would have said.
Right.
They get into a situation and they don't have an option, so oh, the hell with it, leave it in. You know, bang, it's only a couple of seconds.
One of the things I liked about that I do still like about General Hospital is they, first of all, very progressive, like you said earlier, Garyk. You know, they have done controversial, brought controversial things to light.
Mhm.
They've brought about the AIDS epidemic with
Right.
Robin, and any kind of, I guess it was a few years ago when Nicholas Cassadine's son was in the fire, and they brought the St. Jude's Children's Hospital into the storyline, and
Oh,
just
that's so cool.
have really brought light to a lot of things that people aren't aware of.
Well,
It'll be interesting that when they go back to filming, if they write in the COVID-19.
I would
Right.
love to see that.
I would think they would. Kind of weird.
But so, what happens if they run out of pre-taped
Repeat.
shows?
Repeats.
They're going to
Well,
start.
they've already started to do something about that. They have now what's called, and I haven't seen it, but it's called Flashback Friday. So they take off a pre-taped episode and they put together a whole lot of scenes from last year or the year before, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they've got millions of things that they can call.
You know
on
what
here.
would be really cool? You know, it'd be really cool if they did something like this.
What if they did, even if it's like Tristan's character,
Scorpio
and he's
here and
remembering
here
and talking.
you know.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they don't be progressive.
So
and
what's really funny is the fact that Tristan, I can't remember it's your son or daughter, and Rick's son or daughter on the show, don't they
Are
get
married.
They get married.
Yeah.
That,
Robert's daughter,
uh-huh.
yeah, and Rick's son are married on the show.
No, I
That would be
I remember-
hysterical to do this on Zoom.
remember
They're father-in-laws.
Rick was saying a couple of years ago that he heard that he was on an episode. He wasn't on an episode, but somebody answered the phone and they acted like they were talking to Rick's character, even though he had nothing to do with it. And he said, "I feel like I should get paid for this." Like,
Oh, they did that with Tristan's character for like 10 years. And they still have his character offset, obviously, on Young and Restless.
So Sharon, do you have any questions for anybody? You want to know any deep, dark secrets?
Oh gosh, deep dark secrets. Let's see. Yeah, I'm good.
Dark?
Not that I can think. I was gonna ask Tristan earlier. So, how do you guys have a whole lot of outtakes?
Not anymore.
And Blue, you don't have them anymore?
Well, they make an attempt at it, but it's not like way back in the 80s when anything that was really off, they would say, hey, keep that. They don't do that now because they don't have the time.
I know. Night, Arthur.
Oh, I had no idea anyone was here. I am sorry. Oh.
Shit. Answer that very carefully. Evening Star. Oh, shit.
Would you deliver it every Thursday?
It's after 12 already. I can't waste time here. Thanks. How you drink?
Hey, Scorpio. I'd rather have a watch.
I'll take that for the last take. I love it. It's for the outtake reel.
You recognize it?
Yeah, man. This is one of our captors.
Yeah, my original contact to drop off the microphone.
Yeah? Is that right? Can we search her, or am I,
Do it, please.
Wait a minute. Well, I have nothing here.
To actually take the time to take that clip and file it away, et cetera, takes a bit of manpower.
Yeah.
So they'll keep certain things.
Well, that's what I was talking about, that this would be a really good time for some shows to just play all those outtakes.
Outtakes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Put together an entire, there's got to be so much, especially on certain shows that you really like. I mean, I would watch hours of outtakes.
But I don't see why a show couldn't do something like this, and they're just in the moment of being sheltered in place. You know, they can have Tristan's character, whoever's character, and they could show people in the hospital.
They would pick up a whole new audience.
Oh, yeah,
I agree. Absolutely.
They can just email you the script, and you can just put your suit on, whatever suit you have, or whatever, or you could just be in your t-shirt.
Yeah, you don't
why not?
I mean, you can still have phone arguments with your lover. You know, you're stuck in different places. So I mean, you can make it work. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
on this Flashback Friday thing, they're using a different person every show.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I guess at some point I'll get a phone call.
Flashback Friday, I keep picturing people mooning you.
No, that's flashing.
Yeah.
Oh, you keep
That's not flashback.
That's a whole nother show, Garyk.
That's a whole nother show.
Right.
We do a lot of blackout
those-
stuff.
Those are good outtakes, though. Those are good outtakes.
Yes, they would be good outtakes. Tim, do you miss being on the road?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, especially, I mean, a couple of our, one of the things that we would be doing this month is playing in Disney World for the 2 days in a row.
Oh wow!
That's always, for the band,
So fun.
anytime where you're in the same place for more than one day is really great, and of course,
Right.
Disney World, you're in Disney World. So
Yeah.
done it multiple times, so we know what to expect. And it's a fun little thing. And wives and girlfriends usually come. And, we're kind of looking forward to it as a, workcation kind of thing.
Right.
And, so the things like that are the biggest bummer. But yeah, it's just kind of, and we've been we started a weekly Skype thing with Rick and the band and crew and stuff just together. And, it feels good. I don't know, Sharon, if you've been doing this with,
Mac.
but it really
Sorry.
just talking to more than one person.
Eating my chocolate.
The dog just went and stole all the candy bars over there.
Your dog did?
Yes, he was in Tristan's Snicker bars. Sorry.
But it does help from a social aspect of feeling like you got
Knock it off.
Let him talk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just started Zooming with my parents.
Oh, good.
I have been going out there and because they live about 45 minutes away from me, but I'll drop stuff off on their deck and
Good.
Mom at one point in time she's like, I don't want anybody here, I can't hug any of you. I'm like, I would rather see your face. And, so it was nice enough the last time I was out there to sit out on the deck, and I took them White Castles.
Oh, fun.
We sat out on the deck, 6-7 feet apart, and had a little picnic. And
Good.
yeah, so
Yeah. it's
Sharon,
That's
my parents live in Missouri.
where at?
Well, they were in Branson, moved to
Yeah.
a little town outside of Springfield called Ozark.
Yeah.
And but their post that period of being able to teach them how to Zoom or anything. My dad's 90 and my mom's 88, and they're lucky if they can even email. So I just have to basically speak to them every day to check on them. I do have a sister that lives out there, and
My sister and I, we were just Zooming with my dad before we started this one, and sorry, I've got one of my cats is want attention.
Attention?
That's how it goes.
Oh yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't crawled up on me yet. But we're Zooming. My sister said, she says, Dad, don't be afraid to just hit buttons until you figure it out. She says, that's the difference between our generation and younger generation. They're not afraid to try new things.
Right.
They're not afraid to try, well, let's see what happens if I do this when it comes to computers and that's how they figure. I do know I wish I would have taken out stock in Zoom before.
Right.
You what?
Take out stock and Zoom. I said that to my
yeah.
son too. And then Rick said that the other day.
Yep.
Taking out stock. Yep, it's true.
Crazy.
It is.
Either stock and Zoom or some kind of alcohol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because their stock is through the
And
roof.
toilet
too.
paper.
And toilet paper, you're right. And
Right,
like
who would've
all
thought?
and whatever.
I still can't figure out
Nobody can, I don't think.
the toilet paper issue. Why are we hoarding toilet paper?
So one group started it and then it just went crazy, I think.
I think when the one group started it, everybody panicked.
Yeah.
Sharon, I just think people want to be able to wipe with confidence.
There's that. You better have the good stuff. Otherwise,
Have to get the
could be a problem.
A lot of butts hurt right now because they don't have
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll stick with the tried and true method for the foreseeable future.
But I did find some flush bowl wipes just in case I need
I
them.
have those. I have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of banana leaves that I can cut up.
Yeah, you've got a tree there, haven't you?
That is hysterical. That is
I
hysterical.
fear the day that my cat finds the stash of toilet paper and starts ripping it apart.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, there's always the cat box too.
Oh,
You want to go on the cat box?
What was that?
You're on your own for that one.
There is that. I think they kicked me out.
Then you will need a bidet.
Right.
oh God, here we go.
Okay, yeah, we're
Right? It gets sick after.
Well, we've gone to the
Yeah, I'm out of drink. You're going to make me a drink?
I'll make him a drink. I'll
Thank
be
you.
right.
Sharon, have you had a chance to look at a show called Studio City?
I have not yet.
It's a new approach to daytime.
Fantastic.
And it's not one thing, it's a whole lot of little things. General Hospital was big things.
Right.
But you can't do big things anymore. So what we did is we took I didn't take it. Sean Kanan wrote it. The show is like about, 10, 15 minutes long, and we linked them all together. And that was the platform was actually made for a cell phone. But that isn't going to be the future from what I understand. Okay. So anyway, I'm really proud of the part that I play in it because it's a totally different me. I've never had a chance to play a character like this before. And so consequently, it was, very uplifting. All I can say.
Yeah, I'm going to check that
So when
out.
you get a chance, check it out.
Yeah.
Excellent. You'll love it. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, will you end our show, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, 'tis that time of the night when we must all say goodbye. I'm not going to sing Now Is the Hour because that would be just too much. Big round of applause for our first guest, Sharon.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
For with us, Sharon. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And good luck.
Thank you,
Thank
babe.
you.
Stay
Thank
Keep on
safe,
watching.
please.
You guys too. You stay safe too.